sidelines. We have been hearing from people in our government the use of the Bible to justify these heinous acts of separating children from their families, from banning people from certain countries and certain faiths from entering into our world. And I don't know about you, if you are people of faith, but I'm getting angry about the Bible being weaponized. The Bible is not a weapon. The Bible is not to be used to harm people, to marginalize people, to make more vulnerable people. It is used to prop people up and to help them reach the pinnacle of their potential. So I want to just say, I want to give you some tidbits about what the Bible really says. Can I do that for you, please? So what does the Bible say about immigration and justice? From Genesis 12:10, when a famine struck, Abraham went down towards Egypt to live as an immigrant, since the famine was so severe in the land. What does the Bible say about immigration and justice? Exodus 22:21. Don't mistreat or oppress an immigrant because you were once immigrants in the land of Egypt. Don't treat any widow or orphan badly. If you do treat them badly and they cry out to me, you can be sure I will hear their cries. What does the Bible say about immigration and justice? Leviticus 19:9 and 10. When you harvest your land's produce, you must not harvest all the way to the edge of your field, and don't gather up every remaining bit of your harvest. Let the grapes lay on the ground and leave these items for the poor and the immigrant. I am the Lord your God. What does the Bible say about immigration and justice? Leviticus 19:33 through 34. When immigrants live in your land with you, you must not cheat them. Any immigrant who lives with you must be treated as if they are one of your own citizens. You must love them as yourself, because you were immigrants in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. What does the Bible say about immigration and justice? I commanded your judges in Deuteronomy 1:16. Listen to your fellow tribe members and judge fairly. Do not show favoritism and indecision. Hear both sides, immigrant and tribe member alike. What does the Bible say about immigration and justice? I can keep going, and I'm going to. Deuteronomy 10:17 through 19. Because the Lord your God is the God of all gods and the Lord of all lords, the great and mighty and awesome God who does not play favorites and does not take bribes. He enacts justice for orphans and widows, and he loves immigrants, giving them food and clothing. That means you must also love immigrants because you were immigrants in Egypt. What does the Bible say about immigration and justice? Deuteronomy 27:19. This is a good one. Cursed is anyone who obstructs the legal rights of immigrants, orphans, or widows. All people will say, we agree. What does the Bible say about immigration and justice? Psalm 105:12 through 14. When there were few in number, insignificant just immigrants, wandering from nation to nation, from one kingdom to the next, God didn't let anyone oppress them. God punished kings for their sake. What does the Bible say? Ecclesiastes 4:1. When I observed all the oppressions that take place under the sun, I saw the tears of the oppressed, and they have no one to comfort them. Their oppressors wield power, but they have no one to comfort them. Jeremiah 7:5 through 7. No, if you truly reform your ways and your action, if you treat each other justly, if you stop taking advantage of the immigrant, orphan, or widow, if you don't shed the blood of the innocent in this place or go after other gods to your own ruin, only then will I dwell with you in this place. I'm going to skip a couple more because I could keep going and going and going. The Bible is clear. Jesus, Mark 10. People were bringing children to Jesus so he would bless them, but the disciples scolded them. When Jesus saw that, he grew angry and said to them, "Allow the children to come to me. Do not forbid them, because God's kingdom belongs to people like these children. I assure you that whoever doesn't welcome God's kingdom like a child will not enter it." And then he hugged the children and he blessed them. And finally, Matthew 25, and I've seen some signs out here. The judgment of the nations. Now when the human one comes into his majesty and all the angels are with him, he will sit on his majestic throne. All the nations will be gathered in front of him. He will separate from each other, just as a shepherd separates sheep from goats. He will put the sheep on his right side, but the goats he will put on his left. Then Jesus will say to those on his right, "Come, you who will receive good things from my Father, inherit the kingdom that was prepared for you. I was hungry, and you gave me food to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothes to wear. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me." Then those who were righteous will reply to him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink? When did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and give you clothes to wear? When did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" Then Jesus will reply to them, "I assure you that when you have done it for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you have done it for me." This is what the Bible says about immigration and justice. This is not a weapon. This is a tool for love, compassion, hope, and justice. That is the good news of the God that I worship and root my life in. And for that good news, thanks be to God. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Dean-Ware. I'd like to welcome to the stage Dr. Rebecca Diamond and Dr. Bernadine Jayasundara. Our pediatric doctors who work with children who have been separated from their parents, or whose parents are facing deportation actions, or who are just trying to survive the environment that has been created around them over the last 2 years. Thank you for coming today to share the experiences that you're observing, both of you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having us. Hi. Ooh, too loud. Okay. My name's Rebecca Diamond. I'm a pediatrician, and I am a mother.
My name's Bernadine Jayasundara. I'm a pediatrician and an immigrant, and the only reason I'm alive today is because my parents were allowed to bring me here at the age of 5 for heart surgery, and my mom's here today. It is absolutely unbelievable that we need to use our voices as pediatricians to say this simple message: children belong with their parents. We're members of the American Academy of Pediatrics, also known as the AAP. They say, detention of children is not a solution to the forced separation of children from their parents at the border. The AAP urges the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice to immediately end the policy of family separation. Separating children from their parents contradicts everything we stand for as pediatricians, which is protecting and promoting children's health. I cannot reiterate this sentiment strongly enough. We stand as pediatricians unanimously in support of all children. We oppose all practices that result in separation from their families. We know from experience and from science that the separation of children from parents and caretakers is an enormous trauma. It's one of the largest stressors they can ever face. It has long-term and devastating consequences. We see this personally. We see children who have been separated from their parents who have passed away, who have been incarcerated, who have been deported, who have been detained. We are heartbroken and we need this to end. We work in our professional lives to try to mitigate this. I've had amazing physicians up here with me talking about how we work to help these children, but all we wish is that we could have prevented it, that we could have done more to stop it from happening. We have studied the long-term psychological damage from the toxic stress that results. We have data from tens of thousands of individuals. We see that adverse childhood events increase the risk of long-term physical, mental, behavioral issues, and we need to stop it from happening. Our own federal government has legislation to protect children from physical and emotional harm. They have laws in place. The Federal Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act, known as CAPTA, has a definition of child abuse. It states any recent act or failure to act on part of a parent or caretaker which results in death, serious physical or emotional harm, abuse or exploitation, or an act of failure to act which presents an imminent risk of serious harm. A lot of words to say, anyone who puts a child in danger is conducting child abuse. All right. Under its very own definition, our government is guilty of child abuse. This is not a political issue. I have fellow physicians who do not want to discuss politics, who do not want to fall on partisan lines. This is not political, this is a public health crisis. This is an issue that affects every single member of our nation who has entered into a contract to protect and to serve innocent children. As a pediatrician and a mother, I beg all of you, do not talk about partisan politics. Do not fall into that trap. Understand simply, we have all decided, the federal government included, we will not tolerate child abuse. Thank you to everyone for letting us speak today and lend our voice as physicians. We really appreciate it and keep fighting. Thank you.
Frontline defenders, thank you very much. We wouldn't be here today without leaders like those from Wicker. It's a real joy to welcome to the stage dear friend, Melanie, and her partner today, Daphne, who is a student in Canton. Did I get that right? So thank you for being here today to share your stories as well.
So, hi, I'm Melanie, and I know many of you have been hearing about the atrocities through the media. You've heard about the atrocities that are happening to our families being separated at the border and around the nation, and you've heard the frontline stories here today. But I want to make sure that we don't forget that this has been going on for decades. This has been going on to our black and our brown families for decades through mass incarceration. This is a new way to separate families. This is a new way to create systemic changes to show another form of racism. I want to share with you my experience with family separation here in Washtenaw County, because I know we've been hearing about a lot of stories about those at the border, but as I said, even separation has been happening here in Washtenaw County for years as well. In recent years, you've probably seen things in the media, local media, but maybe you haven't heard some more details, or maybe it's been changed in the media for what others want you to hear. In 2007, I experienced my first family separation when my husband was deported to Guatemala. In 2008, I was at a friend's house on Palm Sunday watching a soccer game, as many others were in that same neighborhood, on the border of Ypsilanti and Ann Arbor. And that day, ICE came and separated many families in that neighborhood when we all answered the door. At that time, Know Your Rights wasn't happening, and people were answering the door, and many families got separated. My friends' lives changed forever. At that time, myself and 3 other Wicker co-founders saw the need to create a mechanism to respond to the urgent needs of the community here that hadn't happened before. And so we set up a phone line for community members who were most affected to call and speak to someone in Spanish every time it's answered. We have volunteers that answer anytime during the day. If they aren't able to, because they are all volunteers, they get right back to someone, and they partner with them on what their needs are and how we can best work together to give resources so that they can try and keep their families together. Since 2008, we have had over 800 documented calls, but I know personally I answer my own phone and answer calls from friends and family in Washtenaw County, and I know other Wicker members do too. We as a group are a mixed group of different identity statuses, and we have many friends and family in the community. So I know it would be more of a true statement to say we've taken over 1,000 calls since 2008, and that's just a small percentage. I know we're just hitting the tip of the iceberg when we look at those calls. So there are many families here in Washtenaw County that are being affected in one way or another. We get calls from people who have had their family members detained, even worse, deported. We have calls from community members who are driving with valid driver's license from their country, and there is an international treaty that says that they can do that. But when they're pulled over because of low pressure tire while they're stopped at a red light, then they're given a ticket because they don't have the Michigan driver's license that our government won't afford to let them have. So there's many reasons that we get called for Washtenaw County community members to call Wicker. But one of the things I'm most proud about is that we do also community education, and we listen to the needs of the parents in the community, and we formed a teen group because the parents saw the need for their children or their nieces and nephews, their grandkids, that were being separated from their families here in Washtenaw County, and they needed support. So we started a teen group so those teens could have a place to support themselves and support each other because they've gone through similar situations. And that is not a safe place all the time in school, so we created a safe place for those teens. So I'm gonna let Daphne, one of our vets from the teen group, speak now, and then I will remind you what else you can do to help Wicker, MIRC, and other local organizations and national organizations.
Well, thank you, Melanie, for introducing me. I come from Wicker Teen Group. I am one of the veterans there. I am a daughter to an undocumented mother. My father came at a very young age by himself. It is not fair for children to be taken away from their parents, having them as the only thing left. Those children, as you can see in the news, are being injected with who knows what, just to silence them. And we are here to say no to that. We are here to support them. I, as the daughter of an undocumented mother, always gets nervous when I see a policeman. I shouldn't feel that way, nor should those children. Those children in those cages, they're not jail cells, they're cages. That they're, who knows how they're being treated. Their mothers, fathers, aunts or uncles worried to death knowing what's going on with them. Those children don't know English. They don't know how to communicate. They just cry for their mothers, fathers, whoever they came to the border with. And we need to stop that. We are all one. So we don't need to separate these people. We are all one. We are all here today to prove that with our voices we can stop this. If Trump could take and rip away those families, then I feel that he can do the same thing. As easy as he took to rip them apart, he should do the same to keep them together. It does not matter how long it takes to put them back together. I'd like to thank everyone here for supporting all those immigrants. Everyone is an immigrant. We all came here one way or another. We are all immigrants. I might have been born in the US, but I still consider myself as an immigrant because I am not from here. We all come from different places. The United States should be one place where everyone can feel secure, where all the immigrants can feel safe from corruption in their own home countries, where they can, where there's who knows what. They should feel safe here, and it's our job, to make sure that they feel that way. So with Wicker and Wicker Teen Group, we are making this huge movement, and with everyone here, we can make it even bigger. I have faith that all of us here can make a difference. Those children should not be dressed in orange suits, being treated like animals, being treated in such cruel ways. They are not a number, nor their parents or anyone. They are not a number. They are human beings. We all are. So I want to say again, thank you to everyone, because this means a lot to me and the community. So whenever you see something going on, stand up as well. That is another way. There are multiple ways that we can make this movement even bigger. Stopping a deportation. I've been in so many rallies to stop deportations, and we were able to stop some. So we want to make that number bigger as a whole entire community, and not just in Washtenaw or Ann Arbor. We want to make it into the state and then to the whole entire country, and make that message that families should not be separated and that immigrants are welcomed here. Thank you very much for everyone hearing me. Thank you.
Yay, Daphne. Thank you. Our teens are so strong. I'm so proud. They are like the ambassadors in the community. We have other teens here today from the teen group. Thank you all for coming out, though. Like Daphne said, there's so much that you can do. If you RSVP'd online, I know you all have been getting emails about what you can do nationally and locally. I'm going to give some reminders because, as Daphne said, we have to act. This has to go forward. No one can afford to be complacent. If you haven't registered to vote today, and you are not registered yet, you have to register here. You have to vote. We have to have every voice vote. There are people walking around. We have Superman over here that has voter registration. You can go to the table for voter registration. I want to reiterate some other things. We talked about MIRC today. That is so important that we support MIRC so they can support the youth that don't have a voice that are at the border that are coming to Michigan. Please donate to MIRC. You can text the word reunification. Again, that's the word reunification, so you can get your phones out right now. And then you're going to text to the number 41444. Again, that's reunification to 41444. Also, you could send a postcard to the director of the field office in Detroit for Michigan. In regards to Michigan, the ICE office can hear what we all have to say collectively. I'm sure other ICE offices around the nation are hearing it, but it needs to be heard. They need to know this cannot go on. We can't listen to Trump saying that he so graciously let families stay together. Are you all aware that there's only one detention center that actually lets fathers stay with their children? So he's even lying about the fact that he's letting families stay together, albeit in a cage. He's still lying. So please take some action today. If you've already done those things, you could go have a slice of pizza at one of the places around locally, and that would be an easy way to donate to MIRC as well. So feed your belly and feed MIRC at the same time. One last thing, if you want to know how to get more involved with Wicker or what you can do around the community, we do have a table that way. We can sign you up to receive our newsletters. You can find out more about what goes on through those newsletters on a monthly basis, and it lets you know about what's going on specifically within the affected community. And if you are here from the affected community, you can come to our table and we can tell you some other ways that we actually help those in the affected community. So once again, thank you all for coming out in this heat, and don't leave without making some action today. Thank you.
Melanie, Daphne, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. All right, so here is my favorite moment of the day. Molly Kleinman, Margot Finn, come on up here. These two women organized this rally. Margot may have escaped to the, oh, there she is. I thought maybe you would run away to the shade. Holy smokes. So, like 10 days ago, these two women said, we must have an action. We must do something here. And there are more than 1,500 of us out here supporting this today. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for bringing us together. You had the strong support, too, of a large number of organizers. Maria Ibarra-Freire, who can't be here today, but Maria is with us in spirit. Cecilia Cordovilla, Becky Dean, Hoyan Pham, Melanie from Wicker, of course, Matt Hustall, Greg Olsta, Alice Elliott, Sherry Wander, Molly Resnick, Marin Llewellyn, and Abby Gothrop. Thank you all for making today possible. I did not get a chance to recognize also Council Member Jack Eaton was in the crowd somewhere. Thank you, Jack, for coming out today. And we're going to wrap up with a poem from Bobby Berg. Bobby?
Just before the World Trade Centers went down, I wrote this poem, and it's just as applicable today as it was then. It's called Fragments. No structure of brick and mortar or institution can lay claim to the entirety of your plan. You speak truth to all denominations, whispering in the heart of each soul. We have torn up the map of heaven, and each holds but a fragment of the whole. Like squabbling children, we cling to tiny pieces, believing that we alone hold the key. In light of spirit, let us remember our way home to one another, and so to you. I'd like to say one more thing. It's short. Treat the migrants with compassion. Give their children back now.
Amen.
And to let us go today, the woman who kicked us off, Joan Belgrave.
Thank you. Thank you all for staying out in all this heat. I have one thing to say. Make a difference. Make a difference. You are the tool. You are the tool. So I'm going to sing something that you all know, and I want this to, Marcus always used to say, give them something to go home with. So take this home, and when you think about anything that's going on with these babies, I'm a mother. And my heart is torn, absolutely torn. Not only am I a mother, but I was born and raised right here in Ann Arbor. And I'm very, very proud of what's going on right here. If I had a hammer, come on, sing with me. I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning, I'd hammer out the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. You know this song, if I had a bell, ring your bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring about justice, I'd ring about freedom, I'd ring about the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Now I've got a song, and you have a song. I'll sing it in the morning, I'll sing it in the evening, all over this land. It's the song of justice, it's the song of freedom, it's the song about the love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. Remember, they're your brothers, they're your sisters, they're your children. Speak up, vote, call, write, do something.
Thank you, Joan Belgrave. And thank you, Gina Descola, for signing today. Jim Gibbons for our sound. Betsy Sundholm for making sure we could come to this space today. And thank you to you, all of you in the crowd, for standing up for our neighbors' rights every day. Bless you for being here with us today.